As you walk down Magnolia Lane, Augusta is the place where you can stop and smell the flowers along the way. It was the course that Bobby Jones built, and amongst the golfing legends who've been winners there, Ben Hogan, who won it twice.
Looks good.
Arnold Palmer, who won it 4 times. And Jack Nicklaus, 6 times Masters champ, who first won there back in 1963. Last year, at the age of 46, in one of sport's most unforgettable moments, Jack did it again.
Yes, sir!
This year, despite the fact that he's now wearing contact lenses, but still can't see his ball land anymore, the Golden Bear has that old Masters feeling again.
Sure, I feel at home. I've always, ever since the first time I drove down Magnolia Lane in 1959, I've had a love affair with this place, I suppose. And
last year, Greg Norman blew his chance when he double bogeyed at the 10th, but in the months that followed, proved himself the #1 player in the world. Come Sunday afternoon in Augusta, we'll see yet another champion don the famous winner. Were out, so were the crowds, and so too was Greg Norman's luck as he bogeyed the 11th. At the next, the 12th, another bogey as he played this awful sand shot.
That's the case of a player being too careful.
By the 15th, the frustration of the day was clearly starting to show. The most colourful customer was Payne Stewart, who smacked this great shot to the 10th.
What a terrific swing.
that's that right there.
What a terrific shot.
Then, showing it was no fluke, he repeated the dose at 13.
I guess that's the way you should do it.
If that's the way you should do it, even the great Jack Nicklaus showed sometimes he knows how you shouldn't do it. Not that the defending champ, who came in 2 over, didn't finish the day with a flourish.
From the bunker, Nicklaus third.
The shot of the day came from Raymond Floyd, though. His second at the 13th had to be seen to be believed.
13, and watch this. Moved its way down. Wonderful shot.
But the shot of the week, Bernard Langer for sure, in yesterday's Par 3 tournament.
The greatest moment of the afternoon.
One by one, they lined up to voice complaints about Augusta's dried out greens.
And a lot of the greens were blue, dried out.
So while the greenkeepers tried to soften them up, Roger Maltby sprayed them the best way he knew how, improving his score by 10 shots in 1 round.
Watch this, Brent. This is the way to play this shot, and the pin is in that position. Use the slope to your advantage.
On the 18th, he wound up a hat-trick of birdies.
Center cut.
Wife and baby son were obviously impressed. But for Bernard Langer, that wasn't good enough. At the 15th, he was after an eagle.
The only one, in fact.
Curtis Strange's prayers were answered at Amen Corner, where on the 12th, he went for a birdie.
Center cut.
But 2 years ago, Strange saw a Masters title disappear when he blew a 3-shot lead over the last 6 holes, and that came back to haunt him. At one stage, he was level with Larry Myers, who was born and bred in Augusta, Georgia.
From 15 feet, the sweet swinger goes to
Of the others near the front, Corey Pavin put together a stylish 71.
And firmly, dead center from 50.
John Cook showed his first round lead was no miracle with a sound 73.
Right at it. Beautiful second shot.
The third round can be seen live on 9 from 5:30 tomorrow morning.
And the only player today to
Tim
make a
Sheridan,
putt from that
National
position
9
from
News.
about 16.
With spring sunshine battling its way earthward and a giant gallery there for the business end of this title, Norman stalked the Augusta greens. And he kept his promise of more aggressive work on them with a birdie at the 7th. Norman played safe, calculated golf. Didn't take a bogey all day and didn't miss a green. By the 18th, he'd improved his standing by 6 strokes, and some after-hours work had paid off.
Last night I went back to the putting green, and the 8-footers and 10-footers, I said, heck, I'm going to putt them a little firm. I've always enjoyed to putt them firm, and I took advantage of them today.
But he'll need loads more of it tomorrow, if the form of Seve Ballesteros is any guide.
Boy, there's a good-looking shot right there. Whoa!
Another former title holder he'll have to shake off is Bernhard Langer, as usual working near miracles on the greens.
Top of the hole, dives and falls in.
Ben Crenshaw won this tournament in 1984 and could well repeat the dose if his game stays together. Once again, Curtis Strange butchered a great round over the last 6 holes. At one stage, he was 5 under, and on the 16th turned a birdie putt into a ragged bogey. See the final round live on 9 from 5:30 tomorrow morning. Tim Sheridan, National 9 News.
Norman began his charge with this glorious tee shot at the 12th.
Slider from left to right. This is a gorgeous shot.
Ballesteros had shown he meant business 3 holes earlier on the 9th. Those famous blossoms were there for the smelling, but Payne Stewart certainly missed them at the 15th. In the chase for the big check, first to crack, gentle Ben Crenshaw. Meanwhile, at that same hole, the 17th, Norman was absolutely sensational.
How about that?
How about that? Well, how about this from Larry Myers on his way to 18?
35 yards. Good solid swing. Oh, check, check. Here it comes. Look, watch this. Watch this. Oh, magnificent.
Magnificent, all right. And Larry followed up.
All right.
But the 18th was where Norman could have won it. This putt for the 1987 US Masters. I don't think anyone believed it, as out they went to settle at sudden death, former champ Ballesteros, the world's #1 Greg Norman, and the boy from Augusta, Larry Myers, and first to fold, Ballesteros. Myers had this putt for the championship.
Looks not gonna get there.
And with this one, it was Norman hanging in as they went to sudden death hole number 2. With his second shot, Norman had finished the closer, and victory seemed in his grasp until Larry Myers pulled out one of the most unforgettable shots in the history of the game. Along with his mum and dad watching back home in Brisbane, Norman was shattered as he lamely struck that last putt. And so, just as it happened last year, on the very last hole of the US PGA, when Bobby Tway chipped in from out of the bunker, Australia's Greg Norman lost another US major tournament to a shot that had to be seen to be believed.
Greg Norman. It was Bob Tway at the...
Maybe, just maybe, the magic of Augusta will rub off on the desperately out of form Ian Baker Finch. He, along with Steve Elkington and Greg Norman, are the 3 Australians in the Masters field. And even though the Shark has missed his last 2 tournament cuts, this is a major.
Here I'm back to a place I love to play at. I have no problems. I really do. I feel pretty good and fairly relaxed.
Springtime in Georgia is a little late. The coldest practice mornings in decades had Augusta's galleries rugged up, but among the greats of golf, enthusiasm for this place could never go cold.
It's my favorite. There's so many things wrapped up into it.
Far from the emotions of the big occasion, the par 3 title showed that when a driver isn't needed, Ian Baker Finch's game is in half-decent shape. At 93 players, it's one of the biggest fields in Masters history. But at 3, Australia's representation is our smallest in 20 years. Still, with 2 of those players in the world's top 10, the chances of an Australian slipping on a green jacket for the first time are still very much alive. No less than the FBI is chasing Steve Elkington's stolen clubs, missing since February. With a 3rd and a 5th here and the US PGA win last year, he couldn't be happier.
I know what to expect. I know what it feels like, so all those things are positives. It's still going to be the same intensity, I think, once I start.
2 straight missed cuts have muted the arrival of Greg Norman at Augusta. It was unorchestrated, But the theory of a lull before the storm is hard to resist.
You know, sometimes you're just not sharp, and I wasn't mentally sharp for those 2 weeks, and I paid the price.
Tim Sheridan, National 9 News, Augusta.
Thinks back on his round.
Norman's birdie run began on the final 3 holes of the front 9. Brilliant bunker play at the 10th avoided bogey before he tightened his grip on a great opening round. This tee shot the start of another birdie sequence beginning at 12.
Oh, never a doubt.
Ahead, Phil Mickelson made the pace. 7 birdies saw the American Carter 65, the lowest score at Augusta by a left-hander.
Beautiful shot.
As Mickelson set his sights on top of the leaderboard, Norman fired blind at a flag stick beyond his horizons. The radar-like 4-iron shot of the day.
That ball is closer to the flagstick than any shot we've seen today, and from the longest distance.
There, the Shark was in his element. At 15, his 4th straight birdie brought him level with Mickelson. A superb approach at 17, setting up birdie and outright lead. Come Monday, Norman hopes his walk up the last will be more memorable. Today, he settled for equalling the course record and firing the lowest opening round in Masters history.
Greg Norman has tied the Augusta National record.
As I was putting that putt, it was amazing. There's a balloon that was coming right up on my line. Just coming out. Every time I looked up to the hole, there was this huge balloon coming up there. I said, oh my God, just focus on the back of the ball. Don't look at the balloon.
Coverage from 6 tomorrow morning. Andrew McKinlay, National 9 News. Ben Crenshaw's title defence wilted amongst Augusta's flowers. Last year's champion finished 7 over, missing the cut. Early on, Norman's round also failed to blossom, bogeys at 3 and 4 before another booming long iron set up birdie at 8. Not everything fell in Norman's favour.
Nice touch here.
Some close calls could have gone either way, especially when Norman's ball missed more hazardous holes.
Stay up, ball.
It proved a watershed. Norman recovered to shoot regulation at the par 3 12th, then picked up shots at 13 and 15 to surge to 11 under. Nick Faldo knows getting around Augusta can be difficult.
Stop your shot.
You sure you're out on this fairway?
The 2-time champion led the chase, finishing at 8 under.
This is... Yes.
Faldo will be paired with Norman tomorrow. Today, Phil Mickelson partnered the Shark. The left-handed needed something special on the 18th and saved his best to last.
Look at this. Couple more inches. This could really curl close.
But Norman upstaged Mickelson's minor miracle with birdie at the last and leads the tournament by 4 strokes.
When I'm playing well, I'm enjoying the moment. You know, you just go out there and because I enjoy this place. You know, I'm looking forward to the weekend tremendously. So I've had 2 good rounds. Hopefully I'll have 2 more good rounds. Rain's forecast during the 3rd round. Coverage from 5 tomorrow morning. Andrew McKinlay, National 9 News.
15 though. And 10
A
years
dash
ago.
of deja vu on day 3. A decade ago, Jack Nicklaus's charge towards a 6th Masters title began with eagle at 15. Nicklaus has no chance of repeating history, but 10 years on, the same result at the same hole. Behind the Bear, the Shark blemished his card with 2 early bogeys before setting up birdie at 8.
He just has a magnificent short game, doesn't he?
Norman's only major mistake came at 12. After a lucky break on the same hole yesterday, he found the water, but his short game remained sharp, allowing him to salvage bogey.
Stay up. Yes.
A quick chat with his caddy retrieved that lost shot. At 13, a super 6-iron set up birdie.
It's not good, it's great.
Trying to catch Norman drove Nick Faldo to frustration.
Well, he's got to be heartsick.
To tease Faldo further, Norman birdied 15 and 16 to lead by 6 strokes. Not even sand could stop him reaching greens in regulation, but Norman will partner Faldo again tomorrow, and the Englishman refuses to rule himself out.
So if I put some heat on him, who knows what will happen?
I'm looking forward to it. You know, tomorrow everybody's on the same score as far as I'm concerned.
There hasn't been a hole-in-one at the Masters since 1992, and after today's effort, Craig Stadler's hoping to end the drought next year.
Oh, come on back.
Coverage tomorrow from 6. Andrew McKinlay, National 9 News.
Okay, then don't go in.
Greg Norman's darkest day. Overnight scoreboards suggested a six-stroke lead adding up to Australia's first Masters triumph, but his final round was littered with tragedies. The bogeys began early and by 8, Faldo was reeling in the shark.
The lead is 3 with 10 to play.
As Faldo found form, Norman lost touch, dropping shots at 9, 10 and 11.
3 bogeys in a row.
Worse was to come. The pair went to 12, tied at 9 under. After 3 days carving up Augusta, Norman's Masters campaign sank to new depths.
Greg Norman in the water.
A disastrous double bogey. Faldo tapped in, taking a 2-stroke lead. After dropping 5 strokes in 4 holes, Norman finally found an elusive birdie.
What a key putt.
At 15, Faldo's 2-stroke lead almost vanished.
Wonderful touch. Oh, goodness!
If the near miss flattened Norman, at 16, all his hopes drowned. Once again, Norman played second fiddle on the walk-up 18. Birdie at the last gave Faldo a 5-stroke victory. Norman the first to congratulate him, gracious in defeat, but frank about his own game.
Well, I played like shit. How about that?
Even Faldo felt sympathy for his rival.
I genuinely feel sorry for Greg. He's a great man.
It's not the end of the world. My life is going to continue. I got $40 million, Furman just already mentioned it.
But money can't buy a Masters title. Nick Faldo now has 3 green jackets. Only Jack Nicklaus and Arnold Palmer have more in their cupboards. Andrew McKinlay, National 9 News.
For a man who has had the golfing world on his shoulders, Greg Norman was back in the limelight, walking tall in a Pro-Am in South Carolina after the deluge of support he received from Australia.
It's probably just the tonic I needed to carry me on till I retire. You know?
After that last round collapse at the Masters, a lesser man would have gone on holiday or looked for somewhere to hide.
Since Sunday evening, 7 o'clock, I'm a different person and I'm a better person for it because of my outlook of other people.